Hey, what's going on, everybody? Justin here at Trumpful Reads, and as you can see, my bookshelves are still kind of all wonky. Still gotta do these ones, and then there's some over there that you can't see that I gotta do. And I got books just all over the floor around me and the camera, but we're just working on it, and I was in a good mood, so I figured I'd do some more reviews. And in this one, we're gonna be doing How I Killed Pluto and Why I Had It Coming by Mike Brown. I read this for the Till Infinity and Beyond readathon just because I felt, even though it was nonfiction, it was a sci-fi based readathon, they kind of felt or fit the spirit of the readathon. And the challenge for that I picked this one for was to read something that was humorous or had comedy in it. And based on the title, that's kind of what I thought, but it was more just like a regular kind of memoir-ish type book. And it's about, obviously it's written by Mike Brown, and it's basically his story of the years leading up to his discovery of the extra, or kind of planet Xena, basically, and a bunch of other Kuiper Belt objects, which are kind of like planet-like things like Pluto, but beyond the radius of Pluto's orbit around the sun. And basically, because of his discoveries, the Pluto got knocked off the Planet Club list, basically, and that's why he titled it How I Killed Pluto. And I, just to get this out of the way, I do agree that Pluto should have been taken off the planet list. I used to be really interested in astronomy and the sciences a lot more than I am now. But yeah, Pluto and pretty much all the other extra planets that have been found in our solar system, basically, shouldn't really count as like real planets. But we'll get into that in just a second. But like I said, this is basically a memoir of the years leading up to his discovery. I really enjoyed it. His writing style's pretty good. He's down to earth most of the time. Yeah, down to earth. And he basically talks about how hard he worked, like trying to find his first planet-based, or extra planet, I guess you could say, beyond Pluto. And, he covers some, at the beginning of the book, some just basic scientific principles and stuff. And how basically the definition of planet has changed so many times, and how asteroids used to be counted as planets, and all kinds of stuff, and how it changes quite a bit. And he does deal with, I like how he talked about basically how a regular astronomer's life actually is lived, basically, like when he's doing research and stuff, and how he basically had to do the same thing like every night when the telescope was operational. Like you can't obviously use it that well on like a full moon. But he talks about basically all the work that all this sort of stuff entails in like a daily astronomer's life, and just like writing programs to compare pictures and all, how they go about taking the pictures, and which telescopes he uses and why, and all that stuff. I thought that was pretty cool. But basically, just eventually he did find extra. I keep saying extra planets. Basically, planetary type objects beyond Pluto. And he talks about like the funny names he gives them just before they're like officially anything, like Santa and Easter Bunny and stuff. Basically, just on like either like the times of year, or just kind of silly things that has something to do with like the day he found it or something. But basically, eventually he finds one that's Xena, which is quite large. It's not quite as big as Pluto, but it's pretty comparable. But it's it's in like the Kuiper Belt region, which is way beyond Pluto. And he does deal with a little bit of drama. Basically, another astronomer, like in Spain or something, like his team tried to literally just totally steal it from him because he was trying to be, responsible and basically write like, the introductory paper on this object, rather than just basically. And I guess in astronomy, whenever you just whoever announces it first is technically credited as the discoverer. Whoever, like the majority of people try to like, write something about it, basically, just because, for example, like this object, the Spaniards who I guess like totally scooped it from him had no idea anything about it. Just like put out a bunch of stuff like how it was bigger than Pluto and brighter and blah blah blah, and none of that was true. And Mike Brown and his team obviously knew that because they were studying it a little bit. And they were still being fairly responsible because it was only like 3 or 4 months or something like that, which is pretty fast in the scientific community. But anyways, it goes into a bunch of drama because basically, not only was he scooped by the Spaniards, I guess, they literally hacked into like the basically the astronomy or the telescope site that they were working from in Chile or whatever, hack like that database to like find the coordinates of like what he was looking at, and then just like used his coordinates to like take pictures and stuff without actually doing anything themselves, and it turned into like this big mess. And then like the Astronomical Union was like, they didn't like want to deal with anything. Long story short, there's basically drama in basically every scientific field. But anyways, the main point is a bunch of extra planetary objects were found, and then the Astronomical Union had to like do like a special convening to basically decide what the actual definition of a planet was, and whether these extra planets like Xena, which is what he named the really big one that he found, if they count as planets or not. And he deals on this quite a bit, and how like, you know, everyone's kind of like hemming and hawing and arguing about like nonsense, and how almost there's all these like random cop outs, like these different definitions that were put forward, like trying to like sneak them in, calling there was going to be planets and classical planets, which was basically the 8 planets: Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Neptune, and or Uranus and Neptune were going to be classical planets, and all the other planets were just going to be like regular planets. And then it became, no, they're going to be dwarf planets and all kinds of stuff. And how it's just kind of fun, like learning about all the different arguments that like different astronomers around the world sort of had for like all these random things, which really it's all just sort of like definitions and like what you want it to be and stuff. So I thought that was kind of funny. But in the end, basically Pluto gets cut as an official planet, and now it's, I think, a dwarf planet. It's where all these other Kuiper Belt objects that are like larger. I don't know. There was like a fancy definition, but like I said, even that definition got criticized because technically, in certain circumstances, like Jupiter wouldn't be a planet, and it was just total ridiculousness. But the author did a pretty good job trying to condense everything into like pretty straightforward lingo. Overall, I still thought it was a pretty fun read, even though he does kind of get bogged down with that stuff. But he makes it kind of humorous and basically lighthearted at the same time. So it's not like just reading like a dry like treatise on, you know, astronomical definitions and stuff. It's not like that at all. So and you get to see his personal life a ton. Like his first or his daughter was born literally like right after he had discovered like one of the planetary objects, Xena, I believe, and how he includes basically all that entails with like not sleeping at night and stuff, which I can definitely relate to. Like I have a 3-week-old right now, so you know I can definitely relate to sleepless nights and stuff. But anyways, it was kind of interesting, like I said, just to see his daily life and how it changed like throughout the year, based on different circumstances and stuff, and then how he actually went about, you know, work at like telescopes and everything, and his team and stuff. So I thought that was pretty cool, just because I've never read anything quite like that. But yeah, it really wasn't like a humorous read like I thought it was going to be, but it was still a fun, like kind of lighthearted read. I really enjoyed it. I thought he did a pretty good job. I think there was, like I said, like he gets hung up a little bit too much on like the whole the Spanish astronomy team like scooping like his discovery and stuff, because in the end it kind of worked out for him anyway. So I don't know. I think he thought he was like a really good detective trying to figure out, you know, how they did it and stuff, and just came across a little weird. But overall, I'm gonna give How I Killed Pluto and Why I Had It Coming 4 out of 5 stars, just because it was really enlightening to read about basically the daily life of astronomers. I thought it was just really fun, and it was just kind of interesting seeing basically all the drama and intrigue in just like a really niche like scientific community of astronomers. So I thought that was pretty fun. But yeah, like overall, like I said, overall 4 out of 5 stars to How I Killed Pluto and Why It Had It Coming. And just tell me what your favorite space type book is. I guess I kind of want to start reading some astronomy books, and I'm not having. I know this one wasn't quite an astronomy book per se, but I want to read some astronomy or astrophysics or cosmology books, things like that. Just leave like some of your favorites down below, because I've read a couple now and I haven't found anything like really good, I guess. They're just all kind of like meh reads. But like I said, I know this one wasn't, that's obviously not what this one was for, but I'm kind of like really interested in reading in astronomy right now. So yeah, leave some comments down below on what you like for astronomy books if you've read any. And always remember, whatever you're reading, read victoriously.